Welcome to the Ask Danny series.
Featuring Danny.
Danny,
Welcome back.
welcome back. We've got some really great questions to answer, so let's dive straight into it. The first one is, what is a man's perspective on getting the spark back in the bedroom?
Getting the spark back in the bedroom. Keeping the spark in the bedroom. I think keep it simple. Keep it really simple. Like I know me personally, I don't let you walk past without slapping that ass.
That helps. I do love that.
Yeah, you do love that. And I love to do it. Keep it playful.
Yeah.
We have such a playful romantic relationship. Like sometimes I'll chase Kira around the kitchen, and she frolics around, and that's us. Just that's our thing.
I don't know if I frolic, but
she frolics. But everyone's different. Whatever works for you. There's some I know there's some games you can get, card games and stuff like that to spice it up if you can't think of anything fun or.
Well, to be fair on that, one time when we went away, we had a really cool card deck. I think I saw it on Instagram, and it was actually about really meaningful questions. And that's a great way to keep the spark alive, is to continue learning about each other. So we enjoy doing stuff like that because we always find out something new. And you could be with your partner for 30 years and think you know everything about them, but I promise you do not. So
yeah. And I think there's plenty of things you can do too that are outside of the bedroom to keep the spark alive in the bedroom. I know for us, it's a regular occurrence. I know a lot of people don't have the pleasure that we do. We have nights with no children. I know, it's amazing.
It's the best.
And we have date nights. Like we make a point of at least, if not once a week, once a fortnight, we just go to one of our little favorite restaurants. I might come home and say, babe, we're eating out tonight, and we go and have some dinner. A couple of glasses of wine doesn't hurt. And
we go away a lot as well. And that's there's actually a book called The Honeymoon Effect. And I think it's by Bruce Lipton. Don't quote me on that. I can find out. But it's such an incredible book about how that honeymoon effect doesn't have to die. And one of the biggest tips that he shares is discovering newness together creates the feeling of newness. So if you're stuck in a rut, plan an adventure together, go and do something crazy together that is new for both of you, discover new things together, and that keeps the newness alive.
I would have to say that is probably one of our favorite things to do together is we love to adventure together. I am adventure now. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to go to Bali. You don't have to go, staycations. We love staycations. We can go to Byron, which is 45 minutes away. We find a little Airbnb. It doesn't have to be expensive. It's not about where you are. It's about who you're with.
Yeah.
And the memories that you make, if it's a nice starry night and you've got a fireplace and a bit of Barry White in the background.
Not to be romantic. So what I would like to share on this, a few tips, is for women, the spark really starts with meeting her emotional needs. So guys, you can't ignore her emotional needs if you expect her to meet your sexual needs. So it starts with meeting her needs, and then she's more likely to fulfill your needs. So romance her, notice her, listen to her. These things boost her oxytocin. And when her oxytocin is high, she's relaxed, her heart expands, she feels good. So make sure you do that. I think growing together, we've talked about playing together. The other thing that I would say is really get to know each other's sexual blueprint.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Sex feels good. So if it's not feeling good, then there's something amiss there. So get to know each other's sexual blueprint.
And talk about it. Communicate. If there's something that doesn't feel good, let him know or let her know. If there's something that you like more than other things, have the conversation. That's your forever person. If you can't talk about it with them, who can you talk about it with?
You know what? If it feels good, you're going to want to do it more.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
And the other thing that I would share is that great sex starts with foreplay, but the foreplay starts outside of the bedroom. It's how you treat each other, before you go off to work for the day. So how you treat each other in the morning will set you up for success and joy and excitement and that flirty energy that you can sustain through the day with a little cheeky text message doesn't hurt. It's respecting each other. It's showing each other appreciation.
No matter what time I get up in the morning, even if the sun's not up yet, I always start my day with a cup of tea If I know she's going to be asleep, I'll make it extra hot so it's still warm when she wakes up. And I never leave the house without a kiss.
Yeah. And sometimes he leaves to work with some fun sexual favors too, and that doesn't help to keep that helps to keep the spark alive as well.
Doesn't hurt.
Anything else you want to share on
that? Look, I think we've covered it. Just, be yourselves, be playful, communicate, and don't be shy. Get amongst it. That's right.
So next question is thoughts on partners having friendships with the opposite sex. We love this question. And I have a feeling we're going to ruffle a few feathers with this one.
Most definitely. Look, I can speak from experience. When I met Kira, I had a lot of female friends. I was single for a long time. And to me, that was completely normal. It was totally normalized. And we were mates as far as I was concerned. It wasn't until I think I started learning about energetic exchanges and so forth that I really understood the energy leaks of not only having relationships with other women apart from you, but even entertaining them as far as conversations, chats, coffee, stuff like that. And they're the energetic leaks that you don't want in a relationship. Like I know for you and me, I don't have any female friends, or I don't catch up with any other woman on this planet for a coffee or a catch up or a chit chat, except for you, my mum or my sisters or my next, anyone family. But it feels good to me doing that. And I know in the back of my mind, I don't have that worry with Kira either. I know that the only men that she has anything to do with is through her business or me or your brother or
I have absolutely no need to have men in my life that I'm giving my energy to. I get all of my needs met through you. And I really want to speak into this and call to your emotional intelligence, because this is very much founded in science. Many years ago in my early 20s, I came across a book and it was called Affair Proof Your Marriage. I'm not sure who the author was. I'm sure you could look it up. And essentially it went into the needs of men and women, but also the science of an affair from a biochemical standpoint. So let's put premeditated regular cheaters aside. We're not talking about that. We're talking about committed relationships. Usually affairs are not premeditated. And relationships all go through ups and downs, right? There's inevitable tough times. There's inevitable times of disconnection. So when we get our needs met in a relationship, whether it be a friendship or a sexual relationship, it increases attraction and fulfillment from a biochemical standpoint. You release hormones in your body that feel good, that increase that attraction and that chemistry. So if you are leaning into a friendship with the opposite sex during troubled times, this is the perfect foundation for an affair to start. And often people will say that the person they had an affair with had been in their life forever and they'd never felt attraction to them before. But because they were leaking that energy in those tough moments and that person was understanding them and connecting with them, that's what opens the doorway to an affair.
And I think every sexual relationship always starts as a friendship. Like it all starts innocent. We're just buddies. And then, like you were just saying before, anyone that tells you that they don't have an argument or don't have turbulence in the relationship is a lie. Like it's natural. Everyone does. And so if you're leaning into, especially another woman or another man, if you're a woman in those times of need, that's you're whether you're doing it on purpose or not, you're initiating something.
Mm-hmm. And would it be fair to say, I don't know the answer to this, but I've certainly seen enough Instagram reels where they prove the point that most men want to sleep with their female friends, or would if there was an opportunity. So it's not clean.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's not clean. So it really is about having the emotional maturity to understand the truth of women and men being friends and operating in a way where you are protecting your relationship from any potential unforeseeable threats in the future and not creating space where energy leaks can occur. And, you know, for me, like, this is my person. I don't need another man in my life to fulfill any of my needs. Like, I get that. I source that from Danny. And I want to share vulnerably for a moment is I have actually experienced this exact formula play out in my life 2 times in my relationship life history. And I had actually understood the Science of Affair. I'd already read the book. I already knew the potential threats, but I was really complacent. I felt really safe in my relationships. And during troubled times, there was a space and an opportunity for a connection to develop with 2 very close girlfriends. These are 2 different relationships, and this is exactly what happened. So it's safe to say that I don't need to learn this lesson for a 3rd time. Lesson learned. And you know what? Your relationship, your values, totally up to you. But the foundation of a strong relationship, marriage for a lifetime, you want to protect it and keep it safe from harm.
And look, that doesn't mean you can't speak to a woman.
Absolutely.
You know in yourself, only you know.
Yeah.
If you're exchanging words with a woman and there's anything more than just a conversation, then you know in yourself whether there's innocent flirting or whatever.
Yeah.
So it comes down to integrity, I think, as well. You got to be true to yourself, and in that way you're true to your partner as well.
Yeah. I'm great friends with all of my partner's husbands, but it's like in a group dynamic. As Danny said, I'm not meeting up with them one-on-one. I'm not calling them outside of that context.
And I'm friends with all of her friends as well, but I don't hang out with them. I might hang out with their husbands, but as far as hanging out with them, I'm not hanging out with any of them without her.
Yeah. So the next question is this the first relationship you fully committed to a woman?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know? Look, I can honestly say yes. Yes, this is the first relationship I've ever been all in. I've had 2 feet in. And look, I think when you know, I might have thought potentially in the past, but until now, I now know that I've never been completely committed, undoubtedly, to a person. Like, that may have very well come from my own childhood traumas. My parents separated, my sisters separated from their husbands. Like, up until I met you, I don't think I've ever seen a relationship succeed. And, that's programmed in me. So I feel like before I met you and we fell madly in love, I never could imagine myself growing old with anyone. And like, now I can see myself changing your nappies when you're old and senile, and I couldn't think of anything else.
That's one of our biggest playful arguments these days, is who's going to be changing whose nappies, who's going to lose it first.
It was so healthy. I keep telling her, like, you're going to go downhill first. I'll be there changing your bum.
You're living for those moments too, aren't you?
Cannot wait. So yes, to answer your question, yes, this is the first time I've ever been in a committed relationship that I am 100% confident that I am going to wipe their bum when they're old. Good question.
Good question. Okay, next one is, how do you inspire yourself to learn new things?
Good question again. Girls are on fire this week. Look, I think the answer to that question is it's who you surround yourself with. Like, I've got so many friends from school still, and we're still friends. I'm still mates with all of those guys, but the people that I try and invest most of my time with are the people that have already done the work and they're already on the trajectory of leveling up. Whether it be personal development, whether it be financial, whether it be, like real estate, whatever I want to get to, I try and surround myself by the people that are already doing it and have already done it. And I try and be a sponge, I try and absorb. So I guess the answer to that question is proximity. It's not what you know, it's who you're around. So, like surround yourself with the right people, and that will inspire you to want to do what they're doing. It's the old story. You hang around with losers, you're going to end up a loser. You hang out with millionaires and successful people, you can't help but it rub off on you. So I would say that that's probably the biggest thing for me.
You've got some solid people in your life. I think as well, we inspire one another. So nobody's up, all of the time. And so I feel like we bounce off each other well. Like sometimes I'm killing it and all up and all in. And then, as a woman, I go through the waves. And then when I'm on kind of the down curve, your energy is really high. And so I feel like we really inspire each other to keep moving forward.
I think you're probably one of my biggest inspirations, even when I get complacent, like I work in construction, I own my own business, and sometimes it just life gets busy and I get complacent, and a couple of months can go by and I've done nothing. I haven't read a book. I haven't listened to a podcast. All I've been doing is tunnel vision, work. And, Kira, on the other hand, is consistently leveling up. She's consistently reading books. She's consistently. And so I think when I say you're my biggest inspiration, there's so much stuff that I've learned and I've listened to that I never would have even come across. But you've listened to it and said, and you've known that would resonate with me. And she doesn't push it on me. She might be a simple text message with a podcast saying, oh, this is amazing, you'll love this. And the next thing, I can't stop listening to it for 3 or 4 days. So yeah, definitely you as well, baby.
Oh, that's a great tip with men is keep it as simple as you can. So if I've listened to an audio book, I'll find the 10 minutes of gold that I know is going to help rather than overwhelming and go, here's the book that you need to read on top of working,
Because if there's an hour and a half of shit before that, I'm not going to get to the 10 minutes of gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, next question. What triggers a man to truly change in a relationship? Last question.
Good question. Hard question.
I feel like we kind of answered this in the first recording. We kind of delved into it quite a bit. So go back and listen to that, but maybe something else comes to mind for you.
Look, what was it? What triggers a man to truly change in a relationship? Look, I think there's so many contributing factors, but the 2 biggest ones is A, where he's at, and B, who he's with. Like if you've got a queen that shows up for you and understands you, but at the same time isn't a pushover and holds you accountable, and you're at a point in your life where you don't want the easy road anymore. You want to be a king. You don't want to be a legend. You don't want to be a fucking stud. You don't want to be one of those guys. You want to be a king. And a king doesn't mean being the coolest guy in the room. A king means doing the work, being the king, leading by example, living your life with integrity. All of these things, which aren't easy. It's easy to be the cool guy and, get a laugh and hang out with the boys and do all the things that I did for many, many years. But it's hard to step up into the plate and be the king for your queen, be the king for your kids, be the king, the provider, and lead by example. So I think, I think it comes down to sort of where you're at and who you're with. That would be my best answer to that.
Yeah, I love that. And just remember, your energy as a woman is inspiration for his purpose. So when you can show up with radiance and happiness and self-ignited joy, so you're not outsourcing happiness and joy, but you're lit up from within, that is so compelling for a man. The combativeness and, the never happy, that repels a man. When he's in your energy, you deplete his testosterone when you are competing with him and arguing with him, and that does not feel good. So he intuitively wants to get away from you. But if you are this source of light for his purpose, that boosts his testosterone, and he wants to lean into the relationship, and he wants to, you know, rise, and he will feel great in that dynamic. So,
yeah, if I want to fight with someone, I'll say a word. You know,
yeah. Like you came home today and you're just like, oh, what a day that you had, like just on the phone, you know, with business. So imagine if he is dreading stepping through the front door because every day I'm that combative woman who's complaining or criticizing the second that he walks through the door, or dumping with him with, you know, a whole heap of other things to do, which you did have things to do, but you know, that's life, but it's the way that you go about it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, thank you. Cool. We look forward to answering some.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Look.
Okay, stop. Okay. You can't pick your nose and like you're recorded.